Hello, people. I will be working on a pair of armband bracers. They have very different names. A lot of different names. This is for a customer. So, yeah, this is a kind of inspired from a different product he saw me do with the leaf and the Celtic knotting. But then he wanted the Triforce. Ye old good Zelda Triforce. Alrighty. So I've put the lioness with suede on the back. He has much bigger arms than I do. And then now I just have to stitch around the entire edge because there is suede on the bottom. It's glued, but this is going to be worn and it's going to be used, so it needs to be stitched around the edge so it doesn't fray off. And to do that, I gotta punch my holes. So for punching my holes, I'm going to be using 3mm teeth. Is 3mm or 4mm? I forget. This is a 4mm tooth. I usually bounce between 4 and 5mm teeth. The 5's quite a bit bigger when it comes to wallets and stuff. So, this rule of thumb, the thinner the leather, the smaller the teeth. And so I'm just here to leather craft and chill. And I hope everyone is doing well today. So what I'm doing right now, I'm marking out my stitching line, which is what the wind dividers are usually used for. And I'm marking out a 4mm stitching line between the edge and the leather. And this is my first frame, so there might be some kinks and stuff in it. But that's okay, it'll all be worked out in the end. Oh, shite. I'm nervous. Should be fine. Oh, I'm nervous and I jumped my chisel. Okay. Probably should have punched all these holes out first. Should be okay though. Thank you, FBJ. I'm glad the stream looks nice. I was a bit worried about that because of my internet. But when I hit upload test, it said it was 8 megabits per second. So I'm like, okay. But my download speed was 1.7 megabits per second. Probably should try putting some beeswax on these teeth to try to get them to come out of the leather easier. I know I got paraffin wax, but that doesn't, I've tried that, it doesn't really work. I have like a beeswax that was cheap from a craft store. I think it's like a mix of synthetic and beeswax. Because I've tried it before in the 5mm and didn't really help, but I've tried it at a class at Tandy Leather with their wax, and I don't even remember what it looks like. And it really helped with getting teeth out of leather. But I'll have to order some real beeswax one of these days. So if any of you guys have any questions, feel free to drop them in the comments or in the live chat, and I'll try to answer them. Even if this is a recording and it's in the comment section, I'll go back and try to answer the questions. Because there's a lot of different things with leather crafting. I find leather crafting quite enjoyable. It's been around for thousands of years, ever since humans were skinning animals. And not much has really changed in the way how we do stuff. the tools have changed, but not really the way of doing it, I guess, where you still punch holes and then stitch it. Unless you have a sewing machine. But the sewing machine didn't become a thing until like the 1800s. There were sewing machines around, but they didn't become super popular until the, oh shit, what was it called? Something revolution. I just had it in my head. Forgive me swearing. I swear. Industrial Revolution, that's what it is. Industrial Revolution. Oh, hello! We have 5 people watching now. This is my first live stream. I am incredibly nervous, so I am going to make mistakes. But also, I am here to have fun and chill. Alrighty. So now I have my holes punched out on this piece of leather, and I'm going to start stitching. Typically, you do what is called a saddle stitch, where you have your piece of leather clamped, like let's take my hands as a clamp, and then you will use 2 needles and go back and forth, both kind of like at the same time, but it's clamped and you're upright like this and you're sewing towards yourself. I didn't have a stitching pony when I started, nor did I have a good one when I got one, and kept getting loose and stuff, mainly because I have a tablecloth on the table that I use, so I couldn't really clamp it real well. So I ended up not using a stitching pony, but it's still a saddle stitch with how the stitches are interlocking with one another and you're using 2 needles. But it's just a different way of doing it. So that is why I don't have a setup for the camera and the stitching pony, for those that are into leather crafting and know about that. Just realized I'm using the right size spread. 8mm. I need a 6. Here's the 6. I'm not too worried that I cut that length off. It seems like a pretty normal length for me to use as an 8mm. I'd use an 8mm if there was more structural strain on the leather, but this doesn't have much structural strain. Like, you don't have 2 pieces like pulling apart at each other. You're not trying to seal down 2 pieces that might come apart, like a gusset on a bag or something. So that I would use the 8mm for. But because this is just to keep the suede lining together, I'll be fine. The 6mm to me just looks a little bit more sleeker. And also it's easier to sew through with the 4mm holes. This is one of my big needles. It's not. I haven't even been leather crafting for a year yet. In September it'll be a year. And it is August now, so 11 months. Yes. And I started it out of just wanting a little bag to make for a Renaissance fair. And it was like my first Renaissance, and I'd already made a cloak for it. And I was like, man, I don't really have a good purse to wear around that fits in. So I had some deer skin around, because I used to make like little medicine pouches, but just stabbing the leather and sewing it like you would cloth. Absolutely bad idea. Bad idea. Don't do that. Very hard on the hands. So I didn't have like a stitching awl or anything like that. My mom used to do leather crafting quite a bit, so she had some tools around, like my leather shears are actually hers that she gave me. They're old handy leather shears. And she had a couple tools around. And so I picked up some veg tan, got one stitching chisel, which is not a stitching chisel, it's a lacing chisel. And the difference is in the tooth. I think these are 5mm lacing chisels. Where it's straight, kind of like a flathead screwdriver, while this one's diamond shaped and angular, kind of like a Phillips head. So this one would be good for lacing, because your lacings can sometimes be flat like this, so it's easier to pull through, and you just get a different look with the flat lacings. So I made myself a deerskin pouch with a center part and a veg tan, and I carved myself a little owl on it. And that was when I really took leather crafting a bit more seriously, and I had these tools already. I had the chisel, the filigree knife, which I don't know where my original one is now that I think about it. Oh no, it's the same one, I just got a better blade. Okay, that's what it is. Yeah, I had a worse blade on it when I first got it, but I got a ceramic one. Yeah. But I hope everyone's doing well today. It is definitely a Wednesday. So usually I time myself out for how fast I can stitch like this. For 1.5 inches, it takes me about 30 minutes when I'm at a good rhythm. So this takes forever. I might have gotten faster by the time I last timed myself, but also I timed myself with a gusset. Made like a little, I make a ton of them, little business card holder pouch, briefcase looking thing, and there's a gusset on the side. And it's about 1.5 inches in stitching length, but you're fighting with it with a gusset. This would be faster because this is like the easiest thing to stitch. Not fighting through a bunch of layers is really easy. And it just adds that extra depth to a piece too. So I don't know how long I'll be streaming today. Definitely at least an hour. Oh my, we've already been streaming for 22 minutes. Does not feel that long. But yeah, I'll be making a YouTube video with me making these. Yeah, this whole Vambrace set. It was just too unique of a project not to start recording the process of making it. I'll probably release a couple videos with it, like one with just a carving part, and possibly just a couple shorts, and then one full-length one where it's everything. Forgot to get myself a drink. And I hope you guys can hear me alrighty. I'm using a mic on the camera. It's a Rode shotgun mic, so hopefully it's all good. Oh, I forgot to put my Insta results link in the description. I'll do that afterwards. I'm sorry, I forgot. Yeah, if you see the like bird head logo around, that was my other logo I was fiddling around with when I first started making the channel and stuff, and it didn't really fall in love with it. But I made a B logo now. The B is my first initial, my name, and K is my middle initial. So BK. It's kind of cute. Yeah, I'm doing a lot better than 1.5 inches in 30 minutes. Thank you, Sater, for confirming that my audio sounds fine. I feel better now. just checking my phone. I have messages. Well, if you guys want to see me do a project for a video, let me know. As long as I'm fulfilling customer orders, I should be able to do it. Because I like experimenting with different projects and stuff. Do a bunch of different stuff. Like this is more of an armor piece. Do bags, wallets, journal covers, everyday carry items, mostly. But I want to do some other stuff. Really want to do armor. I like making bags. Bags are just so useful. I've always liked bags, but not like oh, that's a pretty purse, I want that. Like rugged bags that have a lot of function to them. Those are the type of bags I like. Like my camera bag, I held off from getting that for months after I had the camera, because I wanted one that had the camera compartment, but also I could fit like a day change of clothes in like a upper compartment. And there was a bunch of them like that offered that, but didn't check all the boxes, like laptop sleeves and just decent good quality. So it actually took a while to find that bag. So I like functional pieces more than fashionable pieces. But sometimes it doesn't hurt for things to be pretty. Yep, stuck. Don't get stuck. Why are you stuck? Still gotta put my maker's mark on these. I don't know where exactly to put it yet. That's why I've been holding off. I usually do it right away if it's something I've made before, because I know exactly where I want to put it. But I don't know yet for this. I don't think it's really getting stuck. It's because the thread's getting bunched up. There we go. I'm not sure exactly what to talk about besides leather stuff. This is a leather crafting stream after all. But there's so much about leather that I don't want to go off on tangents on subjects that people don't care about. I just don't know. There's so much to talk about, but I don't know. Carving's pretty finicky sometimes, especially when you're making a new design, because you gotta be careful about putting too much detail in it for the style I do, which is like the Celtic knotting. I can do other stuff too. I'm more interested in the Celtic Ubrio style. Don't quote me on that. It's the later 1100 style that we see. So I like to bevel all my edges, so you can't really put like a whole bunch of lines in it, otherwise it'll get mushy and it'll affect the structure of the strength of the leather, and it might fray apart over time. So I try to be pretty careful with that. So really intricate designs is something I try to avoid just because of the strength of the leather. But I'm considering making designs and not beveling certain lines, and just doing lines that overlap in the weaving and stuff, but we shall see. So these arm bracers are going to be used as a costume piece, but also for the person to use to protect his arm during archery. And I actually made myself one of these for archery, but I didn't have a bunch of leather yet. I just used some deer skin. Again, actually no, I used a stitching chisel. That was the first thing I did. One of the first things I did. It was okay, but it was deer skin, so it didn't really offer a great amount of protection. Like, if I was shooting wood arrows, I would not be using a deer skin arm bracer. I'd be using something professional with the splint on the inside, or the Kevlar stuff, or a much thicker leather like this. Not deer skin, because deer skin would just go right through it. Because what happens if you're shooting with archery and you use wood arrows and your wood arrows get a little older and you're not paying attention, is that when they fly off the bow, they flex, and so they can snap. It's pretty rare, but that's why you watch your wood arrows. So if you see any splitting, you just stop using that arrow. So they can split, and what can happen is if it splits, it can stab you right in the forearm right there and hit an artery. So he wants protection. So this is going to be a multi-purpose piece, which is pretty cool. So when he's using it for costume, he'll just lace it like this, and then when he's doing archery, he'll just turn it. I'm small enough so I can just turn my arm. But he's much more muscular than I am, clearly, based on his measurements. And then this point is going to snap on off. I haven't snapped it yet because I want to see how everything's going to turn out after forming it and where it'd be best to snap it. But if he's doing the costume stuff, he can just snap this on, so it looks a lot more fantasy and cooler. But if he was doing it for archery, that would just get in the way up here. Yeah, that wouldn't be ideal for archery. So that's why it can snap off. And the snaps will be way back here, so it won't be in the way. Took me some brain power to figure that out. Yeah, and this is a original pattern that I sketched out. It took me a few days to put together just because of the snap. I was like wanting to make sure I wanted to place it right, and I was just thinking about it over and over again. But what actually took the longest is actually the artwork, because this artwork here is actually a tandy leather template pattern that he liked, that I used on the stuff that I was first starting on. So he loved the leaf with the Celtic knotting. But the problem is that pattern only comes into like a corner like this. This one is still even adjusted. It's not a full 90-degree corner. Yeah, no, it's not. So it'll look like the original pattern I can get at Tandy Leather that has like a texture on it that you just wet the leather and stamp on. What does that say, you say? Oh, the low free, no copyright music. Yeah, I thought about that. Yeah, I thought about that, but I thought Lo-Fi wasn't copyright free, that's why I avoided it. And I was going to put together like a playlist of copyright free music, but just for this first stream I didn't want to mess with too many things, even though I wanted to set up a separate camera, but after that was a pain, I was like, okay, let's keep this simple. But in the future I'll have like a copyright free playlist playing in the background, so when I'm silent it's not dead quiet. Yeah. Oh shit, my hands are sweaty. One bad thing about not having AC on, because of sound. Yeah, let me turn the Lo-Fi music on. It shouldn't be that hard. Oh. I hope this doesn't feed back. That would be bad. But that's an ad. We don't want to add. Okay. You guys tell me how that sounds. And it seems like we have about a minute delay. So we'll see how that works. But if my internet buffering is getting really bad, I'll have to turn it off because I'm streaming it through a stream. Ugh. Ugh. Okay, we'll see how this works. What do you think about that part? So, if this doesn't work, no big deal. Next time I'll just download a playlist. Which I have a playlist already on the computer, but, I'm a little bit worried about it not being 100% copyright free. Because it's from all these different sources. Like Purple Planet, BIO, YouTube, copyright free, and also no copyright sound. So it's like from 4 different sources. So I'm like, can I mix these? I'm not 100% sure. Ooh. Have a little gnat, go away. Of course, I don't have gnat problems until we start streaming. Okie dokie. I forgot what I was talking about, but that's fine. Hoping to make it to the corner before I have to get more thread. This is where it gets a little tough. And I gotta get pliers. I have very oily skin, so it tends to just kind of slide off. But since I've been leather crafting, parts of my fingers have definitely dried out, but they still like leak oil, so it's hard to grip things. Last stitch, and then I can cut this. There we go. So you could like cut a huge length of thread so you won't have to do what I'm doing and put multiple rings of thread together, but it doesn't do anything structurally harmful. If anything, it kind of helps. Because you have like this knot, this sleek knot here that kind of keeps it from falling out. And if, Lord forbid, any repairs need to be done, at least it's not like the whole thing. It's just like sections. And the thread's a bit easier to manage that way, like when I'm stitching. It just depends. Gussets are probably the worst for sewing with a long strand of thread because it gets tangled, it gets caught on things, and it's just more headache for what it's worth. This is what I find. So I'll do shorter thread lengths, but more of them. Usually for like a gusset bag, with my messenger bags, I only need to do that by 2. I don't have to do that a whole lot. Usually I do like ×3 of the length that I'm sewing for something like this because it's so thin. I don't have to worry about losing length of thread because it's like 4 layers thick. Like that I would do 4, maybe even 5, just to be safe. 5 × the length that I want to sew. Oh, hello, there's messages. Oh wow. Oh, whoops. Okay, I'm gonna stop this. Doop. Okay. All songs are safe to be used in your videos. Nobody will strike your videos. You can use the song's backgrounds for music and create videos, but not mixes or 24/7 streams. Oh, since I'm not a 24-hour stream, I'm good. Oopsies. Okay, turn the music back on. Whoopsies. Oh, there's probably going to be an ad again, so I'm going to mute that. See, I'm using the 24-hour stream just real quick because I didn't prepare. I just not prepared. Okay, so when I first saw that, I was like, oh god. Okay, we're back. We're back with Lo-fi music. Lo-fi music's so awesome. Oh, it looks a little loud. Hang on. There we go. Looks a little loud, but... Oh, whoop, I gotta put my chat back up. My monitor is actually behind me. Yeah, my monitor's behind me, so when you chat, I have to look back and I don't have like a sound notification for it. That's fine. I just have to remember to check every once in a while. Thank you, Satyr. Thank you for the information. Okie dokie. Sorry, I'm distracted. Alright, I'll be right back for a second. I'm back. I wanted my coffee. Coffee is very important. Alrighty, back on the trail. Here we go. Oh, the volume was good before. Oh no. Now it's too low. Oh no. Oh no. I see that now. It might have been just a song that triggered that. Here. There we go. Okay, tell me how the audio is now. And I'm assuming you're talking about the Lo-fi audio. Okay. The stream. I actually don't remember what my decibels were set before. I'm there! I moved pliers now. I have one unlisted video on the channel, and it was done back in October last year, and this is a bullet journaling video because I wanted to get over the fear of posting a video. I had no intentions on doing a whole lot of those. I was just bullet journaling a lot, and October was coming up, so I was setting up my bullet journal. I'm like, you know what, I'm going to make a video, and I'm going to post it, and there you go. There you go, world. And it was just kind of getting over the fear of doing a YouTube thing. But then, like, I didn't know what I wanted to do, because I want to do a lot of things. I have that problem in life in general. I want to do a lot of things, but not enough time in the day. Really got hooked on leather stuff because I started embroidering like this past week. Oh my god. But it's for a this is restricted, Seder. What did you say? Oh, message redacted. Okay. What did you say? What inappropriate language did you say? I say that in good heart because it's probably like a word that is a normal word, but then it got redacted because it has too many S's in it or something. Yeah, so I started embroidering like last week, but I have a project in mind for it, so that's kind of why. So like I do watercolor, I paint miniatures, leather is the big thing. That's a full-time project. Sewing. I don't really sew many clothes. I just sewed my first shirt a couple weeks ago in a speedy rush because I was going to a different Renaissance festival. And I didn't want to wear my white peasant shirt that I already had because white gets dirty. So I got some sage green cotton, and I just made a tunic. Very masculine looking tunic. Yeah. Yeah, it's like dresses are very, oh, what's the word I want to use? Pain in the butt to move in and worry about it, like worry about getting caught on it, and yeah, I prefer pants. I prefer a good pair of jeans. It's hard to find a good pair of jeans. Okay, I see your messages. I will look at your messages. Don't touch anything. God, don't touch the audio anymore. God, I understand. I will not touch the audio anymore. Thank you, Cedar, my producer. Yeah, so back to the tunic, or just clothes in general. It's like for Renaissance stuff, I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan of the idea of gotta wear a dress because it's just pain to move around in. For an event, like a 2-hour event, okay, yeah, I'll wear a dress. But what's happening is that I joined an armor combat sports group, and I'm one of their squires. And for those that do not know, a squire is just someone that helps people get in armor. Historical speaking, it is more of a servant that polishes armor and stuff like that. That's not how it is today. It's just, hey, can you get the strap that I can't reach because I'm in a tin can? So I will be getting up in armor long term. This is long term because armor is expensive. So I will be a fighter in the future, but for now I'm just a squire that joined this group. So hence the reason why I didn't want to wear white, because when I wore white before to the festivals, I was helping the person that blackened their armor. And that stuff can come off. Oh my god, it did not ruin the shirt. Somehow, it came out white, but this shirt was made in the 70s, and it was my mother's that I was now wearing. So they just made clothes better back then. Because a modern cotton, it would not have come out. So I didn't want to wear white, and so I quickly just whipped up a shirt. I had some embroidered trim that I wanted to use for my cloak, but the reason why I didn't use it for my cloak is because it was not brown. It was a beautiful burgundy red, not brown, like the photos showed. So I still kept it because it was a beautiful, beautiful, actually I think I have it. Actually, I have the shirt. Let me grab the shirt. Oh no, the shirt's not up here. Okay, that's fine. Oh, maybe I can't find it. Oh, I don't see it here quickly. Yeah, it's not around right now. Okay, that's fine. Well, anyway, it's this like beautiful burgundy and gold trim. Oh, look at that! There was a scrap piece in the cabbage patch. Yeah, here it is. It's a really nice burgundy and gold, and that wouldn't work with the cloak because I had a teal lining and brown, and it just didn't work well. But with the cotton I got for the tunic, it looks really nice. Like, it looks really nice. I say I don't like pretty things, and I like more usable things. But here I am talking about colors and fabrics. So yeah, this looks really nice together with the sage green and the burgundy. And it's like a green and red, but it doesn't look Christmassy. And I really like that. So that's what I did for the tunic. I put a trim around the collar, and I never did trim before, so it came out lopsided. I'm like, okay, this is fine. That was my first shirt I made, so... Oh god. Things just don't go right when you first make something. It is. But I hope to make more clothes, even for every day, because I'm not into fast fashion, nor do I like the idea of mass-producing clothes, and I have trouble finding clothes I like. Because I don't like fast fashion, I like more of a classy look. So, I've been wanting to start making my own clothes, but I haven't had the guts to make anything. But fabric sourcing is actually quite hard. Finding a cotton, that's easy. No big deal. But when you want to make a dress, oh my, that's a different story. But going back to why I don't want to wear a dress is because I'll be helping people in armor and running around. Basically think like, okay. So I used to work retail. So man, if for those that work retail or that have to move around a lot, you don't want to be wearing a skirt. It's just easier to just move around in pants. But the problem is with the historical look, you wear pants, it looks very masculine. It's because that's the way it was. Women didn't wear pants. There are a few rare historical cases where, yes, a woman did wear pants, but those are one-offs, those are flukes, or choices that were typically frowned upon. But it was still a masculine look, and I'm like, I want to look like a little princess, but a strong warrior princess. This isn't working. So I'll have to kind of make a costume, I guess, that will have to break the historical boundaries, and mainly just fantasy. But the armor combat group I joined, they're a historical reenactment group, reenacting the 1477. So I have to be in those boundaries. And my tunic was definitely not historically accurate anything. Maybe the Viking period. Maybe, but even then, that's a little stretch. Because one, it was cotton. Normally those are made out of wool. Two, it had darts in it. That's a more modern thing. I think that came around... Oh, I don't quite remember. Oh, that would have come around about Victorian age. Probably a little bit sooner. I don't quite remember. Okay, now how am I going to deal with this? I'm judging whether if I want to avoid the hole and just stitch this hole. I think that's what I'm going to do. So it's going to be a little hole and I'll fill it later. Oh yes, that'll be better. That'll be better than trying to stitch all the holes. Yeah, but going back to tunics, they're usually made out of wool. Viking period. Usually made out of wool. And embroidered. But not polyester metallic embroidery. This is a leather video. This isn't a historical discussion about tunics. Ah! Yeah, actually, I've made nothing that's historically accurate. Now I'm thinking about it. My belt that I made is purely, hey, I want a belt that is like this. So that's modern brain. Fantasy, I guess. Yeah, nothing I've made is actually historically accurate. That'll have to be a project. I do like the Viking pouches. So maybe I'll do a Viking pouch that's historically accurate for a video or something. It's kind of hard to do quote-unquote historically accurate, especially when it comes to leather stuff, because like back then they didn't have nice stitching chisels. I've seen it done before, and it depends on the area. But what I saw one documentary talk about was that they took a piece of wood and they just notched in, and they used it like the French style of leather crafting, where they would just mark the holes and then go back with a bladed awl, and I have one of those, and then just stab the holes and punch through them, not a hammer and stitching chisel where you just line it up and hit it. I don't think they probably didn't have steel that was strong enough to do that readily available. I mean, they had the irons and stuff. I guess they would have, because they had the moon knife with the awl on the top, and that's usually what it was. They had a moon knife, half moon knife, like this, but the blade was orientated different. It was more, if I was holding it like this, it was more down. Then on top of it, this is a short blade, so I'm trying to be careful, it would have an awl, but it'd be all one piece. Kind of like a halberd head, if you talk about weapons, kind of like a halberd head. So, let me set this down, be careful. So you would have your awl in the blade here, and so when you would cut, you would kind of cut how you would normally do with a moon knife like this, and slide it through, but the blade would be oriented differently. And then the other side would be the awl, which you would just aim more down and stab. I don't have one of those tools. Those tools look dangerous and weapon-like, so they look cool, but I'm sure to get one that is historically accurate, it would be expensive. Yeah, this is a sheath I tried to make without a pattern or anything, and it ended up not working well. That's what happens. You make your first projects and you learn from them, and you're like, okay, well, that is what it is, but I needed a cover for that, so I don't care as long as it's covered. Oh yeah, my first project was pretty sad. And my pouches my pouches after that to hold my tools got even sadder. Like this holds my 5mm stitching chisels. This was the third project I did. And I just curved that leather way too wet. Way too wet. And this was with the lacing stitching chisels. And because it was wet, it really spread out the holes, and you can see it went off. Oh god, but it's functional. That's what really matters. That's what really matters. But this was the first pouch I did for tools. Yeah, I never take it out all the way just because I'm lazy about it. But yeah, oh my god, this is so cute. So I hope we've done upgrades. I hope we've done upgrades. Oh god. Between my first tool pouch project thing, and oh my god, that is such a big. Oh, this is with the Ritza Tiger thread. So, what did I sew my first project? Oh, it was with the artificial sinew I had, because it was my mom's. And then I got the Ritza Tiger thread. So this was after my first class at Tandy Leather. I think. I don't know. Actually, I don't remember. Yes, it was after my first class because I got the stencil pattern. This is a stencil. This was after my first class. And what I carved on my first class was a Western flower, and they already had the leather pre-soaked and everything, so everything was good. There it is. Yeah, so it actually actually didn't come out bad for my first time, like, doing a Western carving. Not bad at all. And it was just because of moisture control. And then later when I took it home, I dyed it. Put some antique gel on it. And then burnished the edges, and it was fine. Full coaster. But no, it was my first carving class, and it came out quite well. Pretty happy with that. Even looking back, it's not bad. It's not bad. It's not the style I do. I don't. Oh, please don't ask me to do Western stuff. I'll do it if you're giving me green stuff, but I don't. I will not do it on my own. I'm not a fan of Western stuff. It's just not my style. I grew up around it. Because my family used to have horses, so I see the Western stuff not all over the place, but a little bit. And yeah, I'm not a fan of Western. I don't know if this is too busy, but even like the paisley flower pattern that you see on like a normal handkerchief, I don't know. I'm just like, it's a little too busy, I guess. Never liked it ever since I was a kid. But Lord of the Rings and Celtic knots and Lady Alwyn's dress, oh my god, I want to make that so bad. Yes, I am a fan of that ever since I was a kid. Here, be a cowgirl, because we have horses and you have cowgirl boots, but no, I want to wield a sword. Cowboy Bebop, but sent to the medieval ages, not the space age. But I'm sure there's an anime or TV show that's Western medieval times. Please put in the comments if that exists and what show it is. I'm sure that exists. I've actually not watched Cowboy Bebop. Don't hate me. Don't hate me. I've also only seen the last Star Wars movie. Oh my god, I'm saying so much stuff and you guys are gonna hate me. Oh well, it is what it is. It's who I am. Only watched the last Star Wars movie in theater. And then I don't watch Cowboy Bebop. But Lord of the Rings, I've watched many times, and I actually wanted to watch it the other day. But I was too lazy to hook together the Blu-ray player, because we have that on DVD, actually. The extended edition. Which is funny, because like, growing up as a kid, I only ever watched the extended edition, and then one time my parents accidentally turned on the non-extended edition, and I got so confused. I was like, where is this scene? I don't remember what scenes, but I hated it. I hated it so much. I hated the non-extended edition so much. I haven't finished Game of Thrones. I'm watching that with some friends. I am season 8, episode 2 or something. The spoiler alert for anyone that hasn't watched it. Probably I'm the only one that hasn't watched it. I just finished the episode that the wall broke down with Dragon. Next wall. That's where I left off. And I want to finish it only because I don't want spoil. I already know what happens in the end. It's been spoiled for me. But oh, my head. Sorry, give me a second. I already know what happens in the end, roughly, sorta. People have been advising me to stop. Just don't continue. But I want to finish it just because I'm that way. I like to finish things. And also I don't want spoilers. And I want to finish it as fast as possible. But I haven't been able to because I'm watching it with a group of people. Because I love some of the costume designs in that movie. Specifically the earlier ones with, oh, what's her face? one of the Stark daughters, not Arya, her sister. She has a couple dresses in the early episodes that I really like. That I would like to take inspiration of to make my own dress of sort. Is the silhouette that I really like, and just how it lays. And it's not very floofy, where there's a lot of extra fabric going on for like pleating and stuff. It's a very nice smooth silhouette. There's a lot of costumes from Dany that I really like. Her black, I don't know what to call it. It's a coat, but it's like a shin-high dress, also kind of drover thing, but it's also dress. It's a costume, so it is what it is, whatever it wants to be. I really like that, and I actually have the pattern for it. But I don't know if I want to make it black like hers was, or kind of go on my own. Fabric is really expensive for good quality stuff. And also the costume pattern seems a bit more complicated, and I just did my first shirt, so I haven't made anything to be experienced enough to start making fake pauldrons with stiffening and a smooth silhouette thing. I kind of have to start from basics. Like a summer dress made out of old sheets or something. It's not hard to make clothes for everyday use. It's hard to make clothes for costume use that you want to look good, I guess? I don't know. Because a lot of clothing you can make can be made out of cotton, and cotton's readily available. Unless you're in an area where cotton's is not available. But if you want to make something out of wool, but like a wool broadcloth, like a wool broadcloth, I have not been able to find a broadcloth out where I live. But I've heard if you live somewhere in like England, cotton is hard to find, and wool and broadcloth is easy to find out there. So I guess it just depends on where you live, is what resources you can get. So you can make a bunch of summer dresses, blouses, and stuff that you can get at, craft stores. Oh yeah, well, it's harder if you're trying to avoid polyester. I forgot about polyester. But yeah. There's some extra thread there, but that's okay. I keep clippings of threads like that to use for belt keepers, because you only need a little bit. And some other things that I might need. Let's talk about some leather, not costume and cloth. I don't know why I'm going down a tangent of costume and cloth. Leather. Let's talk about leather. Oh, these are scraps from the cutout. And that's the bigger. Oh, is that actually the piece? I thought it might have been the other piece. No, it is the other piece. Yeah, here's the cutout. No, I had it right the first time. There, you can see that. So this is actually a pig suede, which is really nice. It's nice nice and durable, unlike some other suedes I've come across. And I overcut, like you see here, because leather can sometimes shrink and warp after you carve it. So first cutting it like as a little bit of a bigger square like this leaves room for it to shrink. Sometimes it can even expand. It just kind of, leather is kind of a weird thing when it comes to moisture and temperature and how the air is and stuff. So I cut it out like this, bigger, and then I go in. With this stuff, I could probably make a bracelet for someone my size out of. So it's scrap, but it's reusable scrap. Hence the reason why I got a bunch of scrap over there. I just need to go through it and make some things out of it. But yeah, so all the pieces came out of all the pieces for this came out of like a piece like that. And then once it's dyed and carved, I cut it out. Fun. Ooh, the Lo-fi music seems to not be playing. Why is it not playing? Okay, there we go. Was it just between songs? I don't know. I actually can't hear it. I see it playing on OBS, and I see the audio bars, but I don't actually know what's playing. I still can't hear it. Ooh. The needles I use are Tandy Leather harness needles. I wouldn't really 100% recommend them. Right now I'm using the smallest ones that they have. The reason why I wouldn't 100% recommend them, they're fine for when you're first starting out. I have a couple packs, that's why I haven't gotten any new ones. But what can happen, and here's a relatively straight one. Boy, that is bent. That is bent. Yeah. They're just not good steel, I guess, or maybe because I got the smallest ones, I'm bending them easily. I'm not sure. I have not bent their medium-sized ones, so this is a small and this is a medium. Is this magnetic or something? Oh, look at this, magnetic. Why? I don't know. That's weird. I have not bent one of these medium ones, but what I have done is broken the eye up here. When pulling on it, it snapped. I've broken a lot more of the smaller ones though than the medium ones. I think I've only broken like 3 medium ones. Which just happens when you're putting a lot of muscle behind something. So they're fine for starting out, but just know that they're not the best quality. They're gonna snap and stuff. You go away. I'm not using you. They're gonna snap, they're gonna bend. That one that looks like a Z, I should probably just toss, but I have like another pack or so, and after I go through those, I'm going to get some Johnson & James? They're like a little cardboard pack, and they're very popular, and I've heard that those things do not break, but they just don't have them locally for me, so that's why I haven't gotten any. And also why I haven't ordered them, because I have so many needles, like what's the point? I don't know what size I need, because is there 2 really thick, or is there 2 a Tandy Leather small? I don't know. And I haven't found a good sizing chart. So if anyone is watching and knows a good sizing chart for determining the size of Johnson & James needles, I say that slowly because I hope that's the name of them, let me know. Because I've heard those ones are really good. I haven't tried them. Oof, my coffee's cold and it's not iced coffee. So it's like lukewarm coffee. Whew. So the camera I am using, is a Sony a7 IIIR. I fell in love with photography using this camera, but not this exact camera. I went to an internship for broadcast media and photography and videography. Been out of the loop of it for about 4 years now, but I went to a photography event in Las Vegas, wedding photography event. It was just an opportunity to go, and I was the only student that went. It was with the dean and his family because he was on vacation. He was like, "Hey, we got room for people. Just pay for your plane ticket." They had room for 2 people because they were a business and they had 2 extra tickets to the expo. So they took me along. No one else wanted to go. They would have wanted to go if it was like a group event when I was talking to them, the other students. And when I say other students, there was 10 of us at most at one time. It was a small internship. They would want to go if it was a group thing, but not if it's just 2 people. So I was the only one that went. I'm like, I don't care, I want to go. And they had a booth. I believe it was hosted by B&H, and you got to try out any camera you wanted. Nikon, Canon, Sony, Fujifilm, like any brand, any camera you wanted that they had available. The only caveat is that they take your license and a credit card. Oof. Just as like blackmail, I guess. Like, okay, you're taking our camera, but we have your license and credit card. I didn't have a credit card back then, so I'm like, how about an insurance card? And I'm like, oh, okay, that'll work. So I gave my license and my insurance card. Turns out it wasn't even an insurance card. It was oh, what was it? It was like a AAA service card or something. It wasn't even insurance. And I'm like, okay, that works. And so I tried out I was there for 2 days, and the first day I tried the Sony A6400. I think it was the A6400. And I wasn't too impressed. I was like, okay, here's the camera. And also, I don't remember what lens I was using. I think it was a 35 to 70 millimeter. So it was a good video lens. But for photography, it was like meh. It couldn't go up in high aperture. I remember that. It was one of the better qualities. Second day I went, I used a Sony a7 III with a 50mm prime Sigma lens. I fell in love. There is one specific photo I just fell in love with. I was just casually walking by their laptops they had available for you to edit your photos and then print them right then there at the expo, which is really cool. I just walked by and took like 2 seconds to bend down and snap like a photo of them like all lined up, but like with like a really pretty bokeh. I don't know. It's a very chill photo. I believe it is on my personal Instagram. Maybe, I don't know. I can't remember. It's a really like weird photo because like if someone else were to look at it, they're like, that is a boring photo. But I don't know what that photo did for me. I just fell in love with that photo, and I'm just like, I love this camera. And that was the Sony a7 III. And so then 2 years later, I'm doing commission painting for miniatures. And so I was able to save up enough money from doing that to buy a a7 III kit with a basic 50mm lens. No, not Sigma. The This is not Warhammer. Sigma lens, not the Sigma lens, the kit lens, which is actually the exact one I'm using right now. And it's fine. It goes up to 1.8 aperture, so it's fine. The clarity of the lens is not as good as the SIG, but it is completely fine. I believe the SIG goes up to 0.4 aperture. Don't quote me on that. I've been out of the loop for a bit. Can't quite remember. So it is a better lens. The SIGs are is a better lens than the kit lens, but kit lens is fine. So yeah, I got my little kit that I wanted after 2-3 years. That's fun. That's because I started offering my service as a miniature painter, which I still do casually. Miniature painting in my local area isn't a service people really want to pay for. So it took a long time to get enough to get a camera. Like a year and a half, I think. And I was working in retail full time. So I was able to get a camera. Now I would like to get a 6500 line, whatever the newest one is, for a second camera to use for these live streams and stuff, and for videography and stuff like that, because I can use the same lenses as the Sony a7 III. I have a second camera, and that was my main camera for a very, very long time. It is the Canon T3i. If you know anything about cameras, you know that camera is freaking old. Oh, hello. I'm sorry, I did not look back at the chat enough. Links aren't working about section. Huh. Man, I'm not sure. I'll take a look at that later. I'm not sure why they're not working. And Shigari, I don't remember what episode. It was the one that the ice wall broke down and the White Walkers were coming through with Icy Dragon. That dragon's the best dragon. It's so pretty and blue, but it's rotting. Oh god, that's sad. So it's not the best dragon. Almost. Not quite. Yeah, it's weird. Okay. So yeah, I had a Canon T3 I have. And I still use that for video and stuff, but it only goes up to 30 frames per second. 1080. Which is fine. It's fine for certain applications. Not the best for like product display video, but it's fine to use as like a webcam or something. And that's the one I wanted to try to use for an overhead camera like this, because it's perfect for that. And the Sony off to the side with a just different angle, and I can switch between them. But the Canon is acting a little weird. It's still showing like the all the display information on the Canon camera itself, and even though all the display information on the camera is off, yeah, it has like one little thing that's still left that is displaying off of it. And I heard to get rid of that, you have to download Canon software, their utility software. So I downloaded it, tried to get installed and running, but it asked me to enter the CD-ROM disc that came with the camera. I don't have a CD drive on my computer, nor do I have the ROM disc anymore, because that camera was bought like 10 years ago. Oh my. It is a great starter camera for photography. So if you're wanting to get into photography and you want a really cheap camera, I think they're, well, I don't know what the prices is right now, but I think like 6 months ago when I looked, they were about like maybe $300, maybe. I think they're a bit cheaper than that. Probably $300 for a kit. But I know they're really inexpensive. Oh, I accidentally used the wrong needle. Really inexpensive, but really good for photography when you're just starting out, because the photography, like pixel quality and stuff, when you're just starting out, doesn't really matter too much, but when you're just starting out. But then as you get better at photography, you realize the downfalls of that camera. And the biggest downfall with that camera when it comes to photography is the exposure range. Oh no, that's not what it's called. Ooh, I'm gonna hate myself for this, not knowing what this is called later, not remembering. Basically, so like, there's not that much range with that camera. You either get like really dark blacks or high whites. You don't really have like a good middle ground. That I can work with because I like a more contrast look anyway when I do my photography and editing. What bothers me is when you have the high whites and highlights, you get bad chromatic aberrations because that camera's outdated and really old. And our cameras have gotten better over time, so that chromatic aberration isn't a problem as much with the new Sonys and stuff. So I will say, if you're going to get a T3i for starting out, be aware that you'll have some chromatic aberration issues. But if you're just starting out, or you're like, hey, I need a camera because I'm in an internship and I'm tired of sharing gear or whatever, it'll work for that, because that's what it got me through with my internship. And it worked just fine for that. And it's actually quite durable, surprisingly enough, because I dropped it in a puddle of water. And it still works. It still works. Oh my god. I put it in a bag of rice for a week. I was so sad I cried. Oh. Oh, you think that's the last episode of season 7 when the wall breaks down? Probably. I don't remember. You're probably right. Because I feel like it was like either right towards the end or like the first episode of 8. I don't remember. But yeah, that sounds about right. Just for like how the pattern is for Game of Thrones and their episodes, where it's like the big climax scene at the last little bit. So yeah, you're probably right. It's probably the last season of season 7. I should just stop now and save my brain. Trying to get back to the leather mindset instead of cameras or clothing. Oh god. Leather. Let's talk about leather. I am using, for the veg tan on this, Herman Oak leather, which is actually tanned in St. Louis. So it's tanned in the United States, and it's United States cows. This cow grazed in the United States. So yeah, I'm not sure about the pig suede because that was from Tandy Leather, but I try to get all my stuff American sourced. That can be more expensive, unfortunately. But I try to get everything American sourced. There's quite a couple things that is not American sourced that I'd be kind of afraid to actually flip, especially the Ritz Tiger thread. I do not, made in Germany right here. I was like, I didn't know where this was made in Germany. But yeah, that's kind of unfortunate because the Ritz Tiger thread's like really, really durable. I'm using also Rhino thread. I've tried using this. It's very, very waxy. This is still the thing. Let's see where maybe it was made. Huh. It doesn't say. Oh, it's faded. Made in China. Ah, you're not made in the United States. I was kind of hoping that one was. I bought it locally. I bought everything locally, but. It's hard to get stuff that is sourced in the United States without breaking the bank. That's what I'm kind of discovering with the Herman Oak. I want to try some Wicked and Craig, which is also Tandy in the United States. They're in New Jersey? Don't quote me. I don't remember. They're in New Jersey, and they do have a natural side, which is actually a little bit cheaper than the Herman Oak. I don't have anyone locally that sells Wicked and Craig. That's why I've been sticking with the Herman Oak. Is because I can pick out the hide that I exactly want, instead of the risk of ordering it and it's a bad hide with like a giant brand in the middle of it. But oh man, the price of leather has really gone up because the price of everything's gone up. And Wicked and Craig is actually a little cheaper. We're talking like $100 cheaper. Actually quite surprising, but and also the local store I've been getting my leather from for Herman Oak. I don't get my Herman Oak from Tandy. They're having sourcing problems, so it's actually Tandy Leather. They said it's a bit of a mix of things, and this is just like hearsay about what's going on with Herman Oak. Is that they're low on staff, transportation and stuff like that. Just a lot of little things that piled up to make Herman Oak hard to source right now. So I got one hide a couple days ago, but if I need leather again and we're still having a source problem with Herman Oak, I'll probably try Wicked and Craig, or I'll just try Wicked and Craig because it is $100 cheaper. Roughly. On Wicked and Craig, you can get it on with Buckle Guy for $245. Don't quote me, I'm pretty sure it's $245. And what I paid for my hide of Herman Oak was $340 after tax and everything. So yeah, almost $100 cheaper. And it's still American made, so no big deal. Herman Oak is quite popular with people that do saddle making and bridle making. I'm not sure why, they're just popular. But the big thing was because I could get it locally. I could just walk into my mom and pop leather store and get a whatever hide I wanted. Mandy. You might be able to find the ISO and especially for sound. Yeah. Yeah, we talk about a lot of different things here. Yeah, that's one big reason why I named the channel BK Creative Studio, not like BK Leather, BK Miniatures, because first I was doing miniature stuff when I made the channel. It's because like I'm all over the place, and I'm like, we're just gonna call it BK Creative Studio because I don't know what I'm gonna do. And also, just it doesn't tie me down to just doing leather stuff. If an opportunity comes, we're like, hey, let's do a thing with the different thing or something that's not really related to leather, it could still go under BK Creative Studio. As long as there's some sort of creativity behind it, it shall be fine. Leather's pretty cool because it's so versatile as a material, and also we've been using it as humans for eons. And there's so many different applications for it. Like you can make a box out of leather, and then also armor. Which I guess in its own right, it's a box that's supposed to cover a human. But also, depending on the type of leather you get, you could do pillows. That would be like with a chrome tan. Apparel chrome tan, I think it would be classified under tan. It would be something like this, which is a chrome tan. But it's very, like I could try to make a pillow out of this. Cut it in half and just make a little pillow, a little throw pillow. And then you have a leather pillow. Or you could use the same stuff to make a jacket out of. I actually have a really nice black leather jacket that I got when I was at my internship because it was cold in the studio. Don't fold leather like that. I don't know what I'm doing. I need to stop playing with it. It was cold in the studio, and I didn't really have a black hoodie either that was thick enough. But even then, sometimes I would still get cold, and so I got a black leather jacket, and I fell in love with it. I still wear it to this day. If I really just don't know what to wear and it's cool enough for it, I will wear a white t-shirt, jeans, and a black leather jacket. I love that jacket. It was pretty inexpensive for leather jackets. It was only $60, but it was a mass-produced fashion store. I like it because the sides of it have a bit of fabric, a jersey fabric, which just means that it can stretch. So it fits really nicely around the sides, and I can move in it because it's kind of got a slice of fabric in it on both sides. So it's not fully leather, I guess you could say. So yeah, leather's cool because you can make just about anything out of it to an extent. And also, leather is a broad byproduct of the beef industry. So as a byproduct, is a fantastic material. You don't kill an animal just for its hide, and unfortunately some farms do just do that, but yeah, that's not the purpose and idea behind leather. But for the most part, any animal that I can think of right now, there's a market for eating it. So if a company is just killing an animal just for its hide, that's a waste, and in my opinion, that shouldn't be allowed. Like, if you're gonna kill an animal, you better eat it. Even you yourself don't have to eat it. I mean, just if you're like hunting deer or anything, make some sausage out of it, or just give it away. Don't be wasteful. Curious how behind the stream is. I'm gonna say that the time right now is 1:21. And I'm gonna see how long the stream takes for me to be doing this motion, I guess. Just out of curiosity, how bad is the delay? It looks to be pretty bad, because I still don't see the... So maybe it's like a 3-minute delay or something? I don't know. Oh my, it is quite a couple minute delay, because it's showing me that I'm still sewing on YouTube, but I have actually cut it and I'm threading a new needle. So it is quite delayed. Apologies. That means I won't be able to reply to you guys in a timely manner with the chat. It's okay though. It's okay. First stream, so we're just working out some stuff. I've already cut that. Bruce, Thread Zapper, come hither. Well, I hope you guys have enjoyed chilling. Probably after I stitch this line, we'll wrap up. But thank you for coming to my first stream. I am having fun. It's not actually that terrible. I was definitely nervous in the beginning, as is always the case when you have never done anything before, or done something before. I was doing this stuff anyway, so it doesn't really matter. I mean, it does matter. Like, what I'm trying to say, I had to stitch this anyway. Might as well turn on stream. Oh my. But yeah, I plan on posting videos and stuff of letter crafting. You'll probably see a bunch of videos and shorts coming out with this project. And maybe some blooper reels from the stream, maybe. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. Oof, I am getting hungry. Don't know what I should make for lunch. Probably macaroni and cheese. From the Walmart brand box macaroni and cheese. Yes, you could hate me. But don't hate me. Just accept it. But I have pickle leaves that I can put into it. Oh, I'm about out. That's sad. Macaroni and cheese and pickles. I don't know. It just makes magic. And then sprinkle a little MSG in it. It's more magic. Which just makes the cheese taste more cheesy. None the other way. Who knows why? usually have like YouTube on, watching videos when I'm sewing, watching historical documentaries and stuff. Absolute History is a really cool channel. If you're looking for a channel that does history, which if you're into that stuff, you've probably already seen it, but I've just recently discovered that channel and started binge watching some stuff. Been wanting to get some books with historical accurate stuff, but oof, books are expensive. Jeez. I thought about doing Audible, because I would actually benefit from audiobooks, but I'm like, I don't like paying for monthly subscription stuff. I don't like doing it. But when it comes to Audible, I might just have to, because I would probably really benefit from it. Instead of searching YouTube's. But we'll see. I still need to finish Lord of the Rings, actually. I need to finish the last book. I'm almost done with it. I'm like halfway through. It's just that the coronation is already over for Aragorn being crowned King of Gondor. And I'm like, alright, here we go for the 17 different endings. And I just didn't go back to it. It's an audiobook you can find on Spotify. Don't remember the author's name that produced the audiobook. But yeah, I gotta finish that. It's probably only like 4 hours left, and I just gotta finish it. Then after that, I don't know. I don't know what else to do. I should probably just go. I'd probably really benefit. Because there's a book I would like to read. I hope it has an audio version of it if I get Audible. It's the Medieval Tailor Assistant? Maybe? Bernadette Banner's book of Everyday Sewing something. I don't remember her title. But she just recently had a book that came out. I've been following her YouTube for a while. And I was quite excited to see that on Amazon. I'm like, ooh. Going back to sewing. Oh, I made a hat out of leather. I just looked over and I saw it. So that's another thing I've made. I made a bunch of different stuff. What have I made? This is my box of rejects down here. Rejects as in I love you, but I could do better. Basically stuff I've made that I wouldn't be comfortable selling. Oh yeah, I tried. This is a quarter leather pattern. This is like 8-ounce leather. Do not make that wallet out of 8-ounce leather. I don't know, there's a bunch of random stuff in here. That's like not random stuff. But this I actually am quite happy with. It's just in the box of Misfit Toys. But it's a tool case. I made this pattern. I really like it. I really like it. But I'm going to adjust the pattern so that this flap comes all the way down here. So it covers the tools probably to here. And I'm going to make these spaces wider because there is not enough room to put tools in. Actually, these would work in here. Yeah, that works, but for like really, really tiny stuff, but it's kind of hard to get out. What I wanted to use it for was all my stitching chisels, and that's what usually sits over here. But there's just not enough slots, and then I started using this as like an everyday carry leather stuff when I go to the armor people that need some basic repairs for strapping and stuff. Doesn't quite hold everything. But I am pleased with the design. It just needs a couple alterations of just all the dividers need to be like this big instead of smaller than bigger. And then this needs to be longer, and that's it. So I'm quite happy with this. Yeah, this is another example of something that's lined that you absolutely need to stitch around the edges. This one's kind of, you could get away without it. This is a costume, you're not going to wear it every day. This is going to be used, this is going to be abused. It's supposed to be used. So I went with the 5mm up here stitching chisel, and I stitched all the way the edge. Because this is not what the back of it looks like. This isn't even what the back of this looks like. This is actually a different piece of leather. That it was scrap, and I'm like, well, it's an experiment. This is the backside of this leather, and it's pretty thin. So I lined it, just because I wanted it lined. Like a really, really fancy tool roll. Yeah, it's got a little pouch in there, and I love it. I kind of do wish the pouch was bigger, but at the same time I don't. It's like, it's kind of like a, for my personal roll, I would like it bigger, but as a product, it doesn't need to be any bigger. Oh, come on. What's happening? What happened? What has happened? There we go. Okay, that was just user error. Oh well. Mandy, I am glad you're enjoying watching stuff get made, because I also consume YouTube videos of stuff, watching stuff being made. It is just cool. Do you have specific things that you like watch being made? Like, are you specifically like watching leather stuff, or clothing, or what other crafts do you like to watch, Mandy? I will wait approximately 2 minutes for your reply. Oh yeah, this pattern is by Quarter Leather. This is the first wallet I tried to make. Oh my god, I just want to put this back in the box. Oh god, this is terrible. This was a year ago, people. I tried to use a cotton thread on it, and it was supposed to be a kind of an experiment of, I wanted to try to dye this, and it was a cotton unwaxed thread, and the idea was that it would dye everything all at once. And I was just learning the process of making leather stuff, like what order to do things, so that was a bit of an experiment. Back in the box it went. Stab. There we go. I'm actually thinking if it would be doable to record my videos and stream at the same time, because the Canon would work just fine as a second camera, just recording on an SD card, and then just streaming with the one camera, because this is streaming and recording as is. Huh, that could work. What's nice about recording though is that I can put it down and walk away, because I have things to do around the house. If I'm streaming, I can't really just drop it and walk away. But when I'm recording, I can just drop it and walk away at any time. So we'll have to kind of think about that in the future. Yeah, I just set up that other camera. 2 minutes delay. I'll have to change the latency to a low latency and see what happens next time. There's normal latency, low latency, and ultra low latency. I do not know if I have access to ultra low latency because of my YouTube channel size. But I could try to switch it to low latency because this is bad. This is bad. And we won't be like stitching something all at the same. Sorry, we won't be doing just stitching every single stream. It was just something I could easily do because this is at this point muscle memory for me. Not so much stitching chisels, but so it's easy for a first time stream. But in the future we can do different projects and stuff, something interesting, or even just me drawing for leather art. Because I can spend quite a long time just working on one art piece for a project. I've made quite a few things. I usually work at a sketchbook, but I'm starting to work more on Bristol board, Bristol paper. It's kind of pricey. I got my book on clearance. But I should actually probably get same kind of drawing paper, but the cheaper craft store brand stuff instead of the Scathmore. Is that how you pronounce it? I don't remember. Scathmore brand. I do not draw on the iPad. I have an iPad. I have an Apple Pen. I also have a drawing tablet for my computer. I do not use them. My brain is just like, this is not paper. Go back to using paper. I don't know why. I always like the feeling of drawing with paper better. I will convert my art to a vector image in Illustrator, but I'm using mouse and keyboard. I don't know why. It's just for me like easier to use pen and paper, pencil and paper. I don't know if it's just because I did it for so long as a kid. I would draw a lot of anime stuff as a kid. Not good though. Mostly just portraits, not action or perspective or anything like that. That was a bit difficult for me, and I just stayed away from stuff that wasn't my comfort zone. But the Celtic knot stuff, that is quite easy to do somehow. Compared to anime portraits. And the portraits were like fan art. Didn't do a lot of fan art. I did mostly portraits of characters I wrote short stories of as a kid. I used to write short stories. And I'm actually working on a full-length book series, and I was torn between writing it as an anime or as a novel, so I kind of stopped working on it until I could figure it out. I stopped working on it because I was like, oh, I gotta get better at drawing because I want to turn it into a manga. But then I got busy, went to the internship, so I just kind of put it off to the side. Now I'm thinking I just better off write it as a novel. Because it can always be converted into something else later. Or there could be artwork in the novel, like it doesn't have to be fully manga style. Oof. These needles are getting hard to go through. But I think we're going to wrap up here. Oop. I just now see your messages, Mandy. Oh my. Anything really has a high. Huh. Yeah. He is, I haven't watched him in a while. I kind of stopped watching him after he went full time, which is funny. But no, I really like Miniac, if you ever heard of that channel for miniature painting videos. And also Scott, his friend. They're just both hilarious. Black Magic Craft. He does more terrain pieces. He did get into miniature painting. But he was one of the first channels I found for miniature painting. And I really like those channels. So yes, might want to stick around because I might get back into miniature painting and start doing videos of that again. Because or just start miniature painting again. I have 2 customers that want me to do miniatures for them, so I'm like, I gotta get those done. But recording miniature painting is actually kind of hard because of camera lenses and stuff. My lenses aren't macro lenses, so you can't really get up close with the miniatures with them. You have to crop it in afterwards, and that was where I really wanted the Sony, because the picture quality on the Canon was a lot lower. It was a lot lower. Like, you could see ISO on it, noise on it, with the ISO being at 100. And I never raised the ISO on that camera above 100. But yeah, yeah, I haven't watched miniature painting videos in a long time just because I'm waiting till leather working. Oh, I forgot his full name, but Dr. Something for miniature painting is also really good. He's nice and relaxing. He's not quite Bob Ross, but he could be there. But he's got his own style. It's a nice, relaxing style. But yeah, I think we're going to wrap up here as I'm tying off this last stitch, because I've just now finished the stitching on this. And I am getting hungry. I've only had coffee today. But yeah, thank you for those that are watching live, and thank